Weekend number 11 coming up in college baseball here in 2025, and that means another episode of Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers is coming to you live here on a Thursday morning, soon to be turning afternoon. David Kahn with you. I'm sorry, it's not Kyle Schass, and I forgot to turn the loop off. You hate to see it.
What a start. What a start.
Oh, no.
Smooth.
Kyle Schassburger leaves me in charge of running the technical things, and I screwed it up.
You can't do it?
I can't do it. Kyle Schassburger is not here. He has abandoned me here on this Thursday to take his child, her cousin, and his girlfriend Ashley to Disney for the week. They are gone. So I'm running the ship. David Kahn at SportsCon4 is where you can find me on Twitter, on X. We have a special guest, though, subbing in for Kyle Schassburger, arguably better than Kyle Schassburger. We have Tripp Hurd, definitely better than Kyle Schassburger. Tripp Hurd, the Lock Doctor, is with us to talk college baseball at Locks of the Doc is where you can find him on Twitter, on X. And, you know, folks who are maybe not be familiar with you, Tripp, if they only follow our college baseball content here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers, you are a part of the College Sports Now family. The football feed is where you mainly inject yourself. You come on with the Felder Friday. You talk with Roddy Jones sometimes and Stephen Hartzell. You're a part of the Phil Steele Show with Kyle Schassburger and the Godfather Phil Steele himself. But you're on the college baseball channel now, man. It just means more here in the month of April 2025, on the 24th day, where it's also the eve of the NFL draft. So only fitting we have you on
not the
college
eve.
Baseball.
It's the draft. It's draft.
It starts tonight. Tonight. So yes, the night of the NFL draft. Night one is tonight. I'm wearing my Patriots jersey as I always do on NFL draft day. Number one, the Patriots have the 4th overall pick. Your Chicago Bears have the 10th overall pick. You have an entire mock draft that you are currently updating to get those final tweaks ready to go before the draft starts tonight. And folks, if you're unaware, the reason that Tripp Hurd is called the Lock Doctor is because when he says something is going to happen in the world of sports, it is gospel. Isn't that right, Tripp?
Yeah, that's right. I don't give out leans. I give out locks. And that's it. No, thanks for having me, man. It's good. You said you're running the ship. That's why they call you the Admiral. I know you got a lot of nicknames. They might only know you as the Hammer on here, but some people call you the Admiral too. And yeah, I'm normally in for football season with Hartzell and that whole crew, but you know, I kind of got blacklisted from basketball. That Norlander didn't want me on the show this year. So it's good to get back in the saddle. I'm ready.
Well, you are always welcome here on the college baseball side of things. I know college baseball is not something you have really dove headfirst into, but you've done some research this week. You've looked up some things. And, folks, we are going to talk locks. We are going to talk betting, gambling, that sort of thing. If that is not your vibe, only a one-time thing. We're popping this in. This is where Tripp Hurd, has his bag, all right? He is ready to roll with the locks of the season for college baseball. If you want to make some money on college baseball, I suggest you listen to the man, Tripp Hurd. Now, we do not gamble on college sports. We cannot do that as a part of our state that right off the top. We are just giving you our own thoughts on what the odds are saying. We're not giving you suggestions on what to do. We're just saying this is what the odds are saying out there. Do with that what you will, all right? So, Tripp Hurd is with us. We're going to go through a bunch of different things. We're going to revisit Kyle Schassburger and my 8 for Omaha, the preseason trip. Kyle and I each picked 8 teams that we thought were going to go to the College World Series, and we're going to see how they're doing right now and what you think of those odds for those teams right now. We also picked winners. Both of us picked Florida. That's not looking great right now, but that's who we picked in the preseason. We're also going to talk some Golden Spikes, the National Player of the Year in college baseball. We'll talk that as well. And then we'll get into any other random fun baseball bets you could find out there, because that is what you do. You dive deep into the betting world and you find the best things to hammer appropriately coming from the hammer.
Yeah, I think you can look at it two ways. The Florida pick might look great right now because you're getting pretty good odds. They're way on down the list. I'm interested that both you and Schass still like the Gators that much, but great odds on them right now. I think like plus 8,000.
That's what I'm
seeing.
Win
the whole thing. Yeah.
Plus 8,000 to win the whole thing. Yeah, that was our
national champion. If you believe it, then it's great.
If you buy it, I mean, listen, Florida had a torrid run at the end of their season and went all the way to the College World Series. So, it can be done. Like they can turn it around, but they've been beleaguered by injuries. It's been a tough year for the Gators overall. We will see. It all in the SEC in college baseball, it just means more teams in the postseason. All right, they continue to set records every single year. The SEC has dominated the college baseball landscape in terms of winning the College World Series. Of course, Tennessee, your defending national champion. Tennessee, I believe, Tripp, correct me if I'm wrong, currently the best odds to repeat right now, right, at plus 450?
Yeah, that's right. Them and Arkansas right there at the top two, kind of a coin flip, plus 450 for Tennessee, 500 for Arkansas. So not a big difference there, but it's one thing I noticed looking through here, and you just said the SEC is so loaded. Like you think they're loaded, well, for 1 year in basketball, right? They were the big story in basketball this year. Always loaded in football, but some of the guys at I used to work with the Georgia broadcast, and JD would always say, he's like, this is the toughest regular season in all of college sports. There's nothing harder than SEC baseball. And I believe it, just looking at the whole rankings of the odds of who's going to win the whole thing this year. It's just littered with SEC teams everywhere.
Oh, it certainly is. And when you look at, Warren Nolan, which is one of the coveted sites in college baseball, look at the RPI of conferences, the SEC is at the top. It's above everything else. It goes the SEC, the ACC, then the Big 12 in terms of RPI, which is, a strength rating in college baseball. And then the top RPI team in the country, you got Texas right now at number 1 or number 2. Number 1 is Georgia. Then you got number 3, Auburn, number 4, Vanderbilt, number 5, Arkansas. So the top 5 teams in terms of RPI, as of yesterday, are all in the SEC. So it just goes to show, the SEC is where the bread is buttered in college baseball, and that's why you're seeing some of these odds that you're seeing of teams to win the College World Series all coming from the top, from the SEC. Before we get too deep into this, though, I got to talk about Kyle Schassburger and Disney. That doesn't mix to me, man. I don't know. Do we think he's having a good time right now?
Yeah, he's spinning around on the teacups as we speak. I can't wait to see what he puts on social media, because it should be a fun trip. I mean, good for him though. Right. I didn't know he was making that Disney money here. I guess that's just the baseball pod, because I can't. I've got a 4-year-old daughter. No way on earth could I take her to Disney right now. I mean, it's so expensive down there, from what I've heard anyways. I've never been. My wife's been. We want to go. I want to go just because I've heard, just how much the kids love it. And my kid is huge into Frozen. Right now, she's kind of into The Greatest Showman. I don't know. I don't think that's a Disney thing, though. That's kind of outside, but she loves all that stuff. So we got to get down there sometime. But yeah, Schass is like a fish out of water down there. How old is his daughter?
So Pudge is 9. And Pudge is and she's never been. And Pudge's cousin is with her. So it's 2 9-year-olds. Kyle and Ashley are down there with 2 9-year-olds. So good luck to them. I mean, the first thing Kyle posted was a Gaines tweet, because he had to get his workout in this morning.
Oh, okay.
And then after that,
dedication.
He did post. Amazing.
I do admire it. He's a dedicated person.
That man, the lock of the day is Kyle Schassburger gets a workout in. All right, that's the lock of the day every day. But he did post a driving in shot under those famous Disney World arches this morning on Facebook. So he has started to post content. He is the king of content. You will see it all if you follow Kyle Schassburger at Kyle Schass on X on Twitter. If you are graced enough to be friends with him on Facebook or Instagram, I'm sure you'll see a ton of content from him as well. But anyways, so that was my next question. When will you be taking your daughter, who you said is 4, to Disney for the first time? Is there a deep plan for you and the wife to take her down there eventually, or what's the thought process on when the first trip to Disney should be?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to, and I think 9 is probably a good age. I wish we had more people to ask on the show right now, because I don't know what a good age would be. I feel like if we went now at 4 years old, is she really going to remember it?
Right.
Like, did we wait a couple of years, 6 or 7, when you kind of, your memories are a little more there? Like, I don't have any memories from, not to date myself, but 1985, except for Oh, we'll get to this later. This will be the send off, but the 85 Bears. But anyways, it's kind of
No,
my
not
memory.
against my Patriots.
That's kind of my first memory in life. So I don't know. Maybe in the next year or two, hopefully, if I can keep, being into a guest role maybe on this show, because you guys obviously have something cooking. You just got a new car, I heard.
I did.
Like you're so loaded you can just buy the same car twice.
I wish.
And Schassburger's vacating down in Disney. So something's got to be, you guys have something cooking here.
Something is certainly cooking. I will say that it is very expensive to go to Disney nowadays, and that's coming from a former Florida resident. All right, so like I can still use my parents' Florida residency status to buy discounted tickets, but they're not really even discounted anymore. Yeah, well, my parents could buy them, I pay them back. But
what does a ticket cost to that place?
It's like $200. It's ridiculous.
That's not too bad
for one park though. It's like $200. It's absolutely insane. Inflation, it is horrible, and it has driven up everything, including the price of tickets to Disney. But listen, I hope they have a great time. Looking forward to hearing all the stories when Schass rejoins the show on Tuesday. But we got the Lock Doctor here, so let's not waste any of his precious time here. I want to dive into some of the best baseball bets that you have found. We'll talk national champion, we'll talk golden spikes and all that stuff, but just in general, it's kind of hard to find bets on college baseball, isn't it, Tripp?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of luck with the individual stuff, but you can always just go on to basically any of the sites and they'll have the futures up for who's going to win the whole thing. And then daily lines, like I was looking this morning, there's a few games out there right now where you can just get the odds on. I can pull it back up here of actually they've got some updated lines right now, so it's 11-15. You can look at Oklahoma, Georgia's on the board, Clemson and NC State, Mizzou, Alabama, BYU, Arizona State, but there's not a lot. It is, I guess, a little bit harder to bet on unless maybe you just go around the whole website issue and find a bookie or something. I'm sure
I was going to say, you got to go to a casino in person. Yeah, you got to go to a casino in person, or you got to find like the deep, dark betting websites that have all these things for the true degens out there. If you can find them, good for you. I'm not going that deep.
Maybe you can just DM the Lock Doctor and we'll see what we can work out.
He's at Locks of the
Totally
Doc
joking
on Twitter. All right, at Locks of the Doc. If you want your locks, go to that Twitter page, that X page. They're there. He's going to put out some college baseball locks this weekend for you. One weekend only. We're emerging him out of his hibernation as he's deep into the football bag with the NFL draft beginning tonight. But he'll give you his picks for the weekend that's coming up later on in the show, as well as a preview of the first round of the NFL draft, because he's going to give you his lock mock. The entire first round. We're going to go through it. Any surprises, we're going to hit that later on in the show.
All right.
Doctor. That's right. The Mock Doctor and the Lock Doctor all rolled into one. All right, so let's start with the obvious ones. Let's talk national champion odds. So we already mentioned Tennessee plus 450. They're number one. Arkansas number two. Who else did you see out there in the landscape that you thought, I think these are good odds?
All right, let's run through this, and I'll kind of tee up some questions for you here since you're the expert on baseball. The top two that you're going to find right now: Tennessee at plus 450, Arkansas at plus 500. That's basically a coin flip. Out of those two teams, where would the Admirals' money be?
Probably on Tennessee, simply because of the fact that they are the defending national champions, and it's hard to bet against them. And you've seen what Tony Vitello has done over the last 8 seasons at Tennessee, and winning the SEC tournament last year, winning the College World Series as well, breaking that elusive number 1 overall seed curse. I don't know if you're aware of this, Tripp. Tennessee was the first number 1 overall national seed to win the College World Series for the first time since the first year that national seeds became a thing for Miami back in 1999. So Tennessee has already set some history. They set the history with the home run record a couple years ago as a team. I find it hard to bet against Tony Vitello and company, especially when it's become increasingly difficult for Dave Van Horn to even get his Razorbacks to Omaha, even though I did pick them in the preseason to get there. So I'm going to lean on the Volunteers.
All right. I've got another slew of SEC teams here that are just right next below. They don't have the same odds, but let's look at LSU, Georgia, Texas, A&M, and Vandy. Now, out of those 5 teams, you've got LSU would have the next best odds. I think they're plus 800, something like that. Georgia plus 1,000. Then Texas is like 1,100. Get a little higher with A&M, 2,000, 2,200 for Vandy. Out of those 5 SEC teams, what's the next one on your radar?
It's Texas because they're the number 1 team in the country. They've won 6 in a row. They are an absolute unit. They have a massive series, though, this weekend against Texas A&M, as it is a rematch of Jim Schlossnagle, who was the head coach at Texas A&M, took them to the College World Series finals. They lost to Tennessee, and then he left for Texas soon after. So he's facing off against his former school. Michael Early is the head coach. They're coming into Austin, Dish Falk Field. They're going to face off this weekend, Friday through Sunday, in Austin. That's a Titanic series, best series of the weekend. So it's got to be Texas, who they had odds, plus 1,600? Is that right, or is it shorter than that?
I can look back at it here. I think it was 1,100.
1,100 for Texas. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit higher, but I like those odds for the number 1 team in the country right now. That's a pretty good get. However, Texas A&M is smoking hot right now, Tripp. They are just otherworldly right now. They have won 3 straight conference series, including going on the road at Tennessee, at Arkansas, and winning those series after they had a putrid start to the SEC season. They were 1-8 to start the SEC season. Now I believe they are 8-10, if my math is correct, because they won 2 of 3 against Arkansas and Tennessee. So yeah, that would add up. And I mean, they are on a heater of all heaters. Obviously, they're running into a freight train in Texas right now, but Texas A&M, with the odds that they have right now, you could certainly make a lot of coin on betting on the Aggies to win the College World Series if they pull it off.
Well, you were talking about the Golden Spikes, too. They've got a player that would be in the running, don't they?
Yeah, Jace Lavalette. Absolutely.
Lavalette, yeah. What do you think, before we leave that, what do you think about the Texas coach? That guy's got to be, you talked about him leaving A&M for the Longhorns.
Yep.
Before that, he left the Horned Frogs.
Yes, he did.
Right?
He did.
Am I right? He was the TCU coach.
He was the all-time winningest coach at TCU, and then he left to go to Texas A&M. That's exactly right.
That was my first coaches show here.
TCU?
Yeah, TCU.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Yeah, so, I mean, listen, Jim Schlossnagle is a phenomenal head coach.
Apparently.
Yeah, obviously, it was a bit of a surprise to see him be at Texas A&M for 3 years, go to 2 College World Series, make the College World Series finals for the first time in Texas A&M history, and then leave and go to Texas. But that's the name of the game in coaching, right? Like this is the era we're in college athletics. You go where the bag is, right? And Jim Schlossnagle got his bag. All right.
Is their bag really that much bigger than A&M? I thought that was the A&M thing. They had all the money.
So you also have to remember he is reunited with Chris Del Conte, who he used to work with as well. Chris Del Conte is the athletics director at Texas, the vice president of Texas as well, and he used to work with Chris Del Conte as well. So that certainly helped out with bringing him from Texas A&M to Texas. Yeah, it was the biggest story in college baseball after the College World Series, which was unfortunate for Tennessee because the Volunteers won their first ever national championship in college baseball. You know, we're just this Herculean giant that nobody could topple the entire season. And then Jim Schlossnagle goes, I'm going to Texas, and that completely shoved the Volunteers story to the side.
Yeah.
So he stole the limelight from Tennessee, and you better believe that Tennessee will not forget that come Hoover and the SEC tournament and when these two teams inevitably, I think, go to the College World Series and face off against one another.
All right, let's jump to the next group here, and this would be all ACC. Okay. They're kind of clumped right together there with the odds. Florida State, Georgia Tech, Clemson. Who do you like out of that group?
So it's funny because I would have said Georgia Tech because, again, they were this unstoppable force up until last weekend when they go to Miami and get thumped. And Miami, if you look at the ACC standings right now, right in the middle of the pack, they are 9-9. They are tied for 8th with Virginia. Miami has been an afterthought for the entirety of the ACC season. But then they go in and sweep Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech only scores 6 runs the entire series. So it's a get-right weekend for Georgia Tech this weekend for sure. Have to have it if you're Georgia Tech. So I'd lead on Clemson. Clemson right now, the number 2 in the top 25. I believe they're number 2 in the country behind Texas. So you have to you got to follow the rankings right now. Clemson is always there, always competing. Eric Bakich, phenomenal coach, led Michigan to the College World Series back in 2019 when they lost to Vanderbilt in the finals. But Clemson right now 36-7, 13-5 in the ACC. They have the most wins in college baseball, Tripp, at 36 right now. So how can you not pick the Tigers?
No love for the Noles.
No, I mean, listen, the Noles are a good team. We also are still sending our thoughts and prayers to the entire Seminole community right now after the tragic shooting that went down on their campus last week that ended up canceling their series with Virginia. So FSU has had a weekend off, not necessarily to prepare. They've been dealing with the aftermath of the incident that happened on campus last week. But no shade against FSU at all in terms of college baseball. They are a premier program. Don't you doubt that. But it's hard to pick against the team that has the most wins in college baseball right now.
What do you think about Arnold? You think he's the best pitcher in the country?
No, I'd have to lean that on Liam Doyle for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Jamie Arnold, look, his numbers speak for themselves, right? 4-1, an ERA under 2.5, batting average of 177 against him. Like, he's almost unhittable. And he certainly is someone to watch for the Golden Spikes Award. But I have to go Liam Doyle right now. He's 7-1, 2.48, 104 strikeouts. That leads the nation. So really difficult to say Jamie Arnold, best pitcher in the country right now. He's certainly in the upper echelon. I mean, give me top 10, maybe even top 5 if you're talking pitchers right now in college baseball. But I can't call him number 1. I'd have to go Liam Doyle with the season he's had.
How long does it take one of those guys like that, stud pitcher, to get to the pros, to crack a starting rotation?
Well, listen, I mean, it kind of depends on how aggressive a system wants to be. You've seen guys like, Nick Kurtz from Wake Forest. He played 32 games. Now, he's not a pitcher, but Nick Kurtz, 32 games in the minor leagues. And now he debuted for I guess we call them the Sacramento Athletics now. Is that what we do? Because they're playing there right now because they left Oakland. I don't know. That franchise is a disaster. So yeah, great question. Chase Burns, another guy from Wake Forest who I imagine will be in the pros before too long. Paul Skeens, perfect example. Paul Skeens with the Pirates. He was in the minors for like 2 months.
Right.
And then he made his opening day debut. Now, Paul Skeens is just a cut above the rest of everybody else. So, that's a 1 in a million type player. But it can go pretty damn quick if you are, if you are really that good and that much, a cut above everyone else. And Paul Skeens certainly was. And now he's the opening day starter for Pittsburgh this year. They've already had a bobblehead night for him, Tripp. And they had so many people at PNC Park who didn't get the bobblehead. They had 20,000 of them. And they had so many people who didn't get a bobblehead. They said, screw it. We're offering an electronic voucher to anybody who had a ticket to that game, and we'll get you a bobblehead down the road. So that's how popular he was. And the Pirates knew, listen, we got to get this guy up as soon as possible. And to their credit, he was ready.
And we don't think either one of these guys are Skeens level, right?
No, I don't. I think they are very, very good, and they have pro potential to be in the major leagues. Both of them, Liam Doyle, Jamie Arnold, and many others in college baseball right now. But I wouldn't call them Paul Skeens.
Yeah, they're more like a Drake May type, and Skeens, I guess, would be like Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
good comparison.
Yeah, right. Great comparison. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. You had Skeens and Cruz 1-2 in the draft last year. Both former LSU Tigers. Going to the Nationals and the Pirates. So I don't know that we're going to see that again this year. I didn't even look at draft odds actually for the MLB draft, which is coming up in July. So that's something we can. That's way down the road. We got NFL draft tonight. The MLB draft way too far down the road. And I got to be perfectly honest with you. I live in the college baseball world. Once you're out of college, you're dead to me. Forget about you. I don't have room in my brain for it. All right, just. Good luck to you. I'll root for you. I'll watch you from afar, but I don't really care. Go do your thing. Go make your money, which you're already doing in college because NIL.
Well, that's kind of the basketball situation too, I feel like. All right. Well, that will cover kind of the top 12, 14 teams.
Okay.
As far as what you see with the odds, let's talk some long shots. You and Schass both really high on Florida, which is way down the list. I mean, if we're looking here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I mean, they're in the 20s, close to 30 as far as odds, plus 8,000. So we know both you guys are high on them. Who else do you have? I wanted to talk about, I mentioned this to you yesterday, Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
My toppers. What do you think
Okay.
about these guys? Best ERA in the country right now?
Only team in the country with an ERA under 3. Yeah, 2.84, I believe, is the mark. I mean, listen, they have been awesome. 34-7, 11-4 overall, and they are nearly unbeatable at home. They are 25-1 on the hill for Western Kentucky. They are getting set to face FIU this weekend in Miami. The problem for Western Kentucky is their schedule is kind of meh, right?
Yeah.
Because they play in Conference USA. So it's tough for them to get into that hosting picture, that top 16 seeds that you need to really put yourself on the fast path to the College World Series. Because if you're hosting, you get your home fans behind you. And Western Kentucky, actually, their stadium, not even eligible to host because they don't meet the minimum hosting requirements. So they'd probably have to go play at the Bowling Green Hot Rod Stadium 2 miles down the road. But what do I think about Western Kentucky? I love them, and I'd be thrilled if they end up beating the likes of Louisiana Tech, Dallas Baptist, and others in the Conference USA Championship in Lynchburg, Virginia this year to go ahead and possibly snipe a hosting spot away from somebody else. That'd be a great story for the guys on the hill.
It would be. I mean, that's a bummer too that they couldn't host at their state because you don't just stroll in to whatever stadium name they have in Bowling Green. I don't know what the name of their stadium is.
You don't know the name of this? Okay,
I can't remember. I've seen it 100 times.
So it's Nick Den's Field, I want to say, is that how you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
Dennis. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure, but Denes. I'm not sure if that's Den's or Dennis, but it's Nick Den's Field in Bowling Green, Kentucky. You don't just stroll in there and beat the Tops.
You don't. What about let me just throw a couple at you.
Yeah. Fire them
see
away.
What you think. Wake Forest.
Fire them away. No. Not riding the Wake Forest train this year. I think they've been too helter-skelter, up and down. They certainly have projected to have, a potent offense, and I'm pretty sure. When did I look at? I pulled up their odds, and I didn't even write them. Oh, they're like plus 3,500. I think that's too high for. I think that's too high for my liking, for Wake Forest. So I'm gonna put them in the don't ride them category this season.
West Virginia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. West Virginia. For phenomenal odds right now, by the way, plus 5,500 to win the College World Series. I mean, maybe a little too high for some folks to feel comfortable putting any kind of significant money on them, but I mean, they're top 20 in terms of odds to win the College World Series right now, and this team is firing on all cylinders. They've won 14 of their last 15 games. They've swept the last 3 Big 12 series they've faced: Utah, Houston, and Cincinnati. They go to UCF this weekend. I think they have a path to winning the outright Big 12 regular season title. Now, it's them or Kansas. Kansas also another team that's kind of sneaky, creeping up on folks. And West Virginia faces Kansas the last weekend of the regular season trip. So that'll be a monumental series in Morgantown, likely to decide who wins the Big 12 regular season title.
All right. Well, look, you guys both had 8 teams that you've picked. I want to throw my 8 in there too.
All right, do it. Yes, give it to us.
And I'm going to need your help I need to find a couple more because I can't make up my mind. Here's who I like. I like Florida State.
Okay. I
like Arkansas, Tennessee. Okay. I'm going to go with you guys with the Gators.
Oh, wow. Okay, so these were preseason. Too. I don't like the Gators anymore, but that's fine.
You don't like them anymore? Okay. Well, that makes
this was preseason.
Okay. Well, you guys have to update it. Who do you like right now?
Oh,
who's your pick right now?
To win it all?
Yeah. I thought you guys were still riding with Florida right now.
No, those were all preseason. I should have prefaced that. That's on me. It was on the doc incorrectly. Apologies to the doctor. But
still with the odds, I mean, that's not bad, right?
The odds aren't bad. Plus 8,000. Yeah, that's a juicy one to throw in there. I mean, honestly, I'd go Clemson right now. I love Clemson. I love everything about him. I would take Clemson right now to be my favorite overall, which is rare because normally I'm going to ride an SEC team, but I think Clemson is awesome. So I'd go Clemson.
I'm going to throw Clemson in there. I still need a couple long shots. So I'm
do you
still
want
going
to you want to leave Florida in there?
I'll still leave Florida in there. I'm still going to hang on with Western Kentucky too, just because they're
to make the College World Series. I love it.
Tugging at my heartstrings here.
All right. Okay.
So let's say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need one more.
I have 6 for you right now. FSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, Clemson, Western Kentucky. So you need 2 more. You want to dabble a little Big Ten? You want to go maybe Oregon, UCLA, that area?
Yeah, Oregon State's actually up there.
Okay,
high.
yeah, they are. They are a perennial college baseball power. All right, we'll give you Oregon State. I'm here for that.
Take the beat, and I think there's got to be one more kind of off the beaten path team here that, like what happened to Cal State Fullerton? They used to be good at baseball. Where are those guys at?
Oh man,
you know what?
I barely. No, I haven't even thought about Cal State Fullerton baseball. They have not been to the College World Series in a minute. Let me see. The last time they were in the College World Series was 2017. They won it in 2004, but they didn't even make the NCAA tournament last year, Tripp. They missed out on the whole damn thing. They're in the Big West right
Titans?
now. Remember, I don't remember the Titans right now, but here's the thing. You gotta look at this. UC Irvine and Cal Poly. All right. Those are the 2 teams in the Big West that you want to stack your horse to right now. All right. Those are the 2 wagons you want to hop aboard and ride the Big West train to one of them potentially hosting. And guess what? They play each other this weekend. UC Irvine and Cal Poly.
Who do you like in
that?
Series. What do you like in that matchup there?
I'm riding the Anteaters right now. Cal Poly just finally lost a Big 12 or Big West series last weekend at UCSB. They do come back home, so it's a get right opportunity for the Mustangs. We did have their head coach Larry Lee on the podcast a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago. He was great, but I love UC Irvine right now. I think they're an unstoppable force in the Big West, and they're probably going to ride it all the way to the title. So I go Anteaters in that one. On the road.
I'll wrap it up with them then.
All right, UC Irvine. Okay. So for Tripp Hurd's 8 for Omaha at the weekend 11 mark, we have FSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, Clemson, Western Kentucky, Oregon State, and UC Irvine. That's a phenomenal.
Oh, wait. I want Georgia. Let me swap Georgia out for Florida. You guys can keep Florida, and I'll roll with the Dogs.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's honestly probably a better bet for you. Because Georgia right now is at plus 1,000. So that's a little better than Florida at plus 8,000. All right. So Tripp, FSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, Clemson, Western Kentucky, Oregon State, UC Irvine. So you have 3 teams in the SEC, 2 in the ACC. You have a Conference USA, a Big West, and an independent. Boy, what a College World Series that would be. That would be sensational. I love it. Just to tie a bow on Schass and my preseason 8 for Omaha, as they're doing right now. I had Tennessee in my 8 for Omaha to start the year. They are currently the top odds, plus 450. Schass had Arkansas as his best pick. They are second best at 500. Both of us have 6 of our 8 teams in the top 20 in terms of odds to win the College World Series right now. The ones that are out for me are Florida and UConn, though UConn has won. Well, they won 9 in a row. Did they beat Army yesterday? Let's take a gander here. Did they beat the Black Knights of Army in baseball? I'm waiting for UConn's baseball schedule to load right now. It's atrociously slow. Come on now. Here we go. Yes, they did. Though. Yeah, they beat.
They
beat
have
10.
6 out of 8. That's pretty tough because this isn't like football or basketball. This is a lot more unpredictable.
Correct. Yeah, and UConn right now, their odds to win the College World Series are plus 50,000. So that's pretty high. Schass is 2 that he missed on, or is missing on right now. Florida, and he has Michigan, who started really hot, kind of tapered off in the Big Ten. Right now, that's Iowa, who's the Big Ten leader at 17-4 in the conference. Michigan plus 40,000 to win the College World Series. So it was harder for me. I know you looked. It was harder to find odds just to make the College World Series. There's a couple online sites that had preseason odds, but I didn't really see anything, current so I didn't really touch into it. But yeah, I mean, 6 out of 8 I think is pretty damn good for right now. 11 weeks.
That's impressive. Both of you. That's very impressive.
Yeah. All right. Let's we'll get into the Golden Spikes Award in just a moment. But Tripp, I want to ask you: have you heard about the Borgoball?
I have not.
Have you heard of backyardbaseballbros.com?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to need you to go to backyardbaseballbros.com and check out the Borgoball because it is a revelation. All right, Borgoball, they just got some new balls in stock. They just redid their whole website, backyardbaseballbros.com. We have had the brothers, Blake Bergonio and his three other brothers, all baseball players, on the podcast. They have sent us Borgoballs, and they are amazing. They're foam baseballs. Okay. They have raised seams on the baseball, so you can throw them indoors. You won't break anything when you throw the baseball, and you can mimic real pitches with the raised seams. You can throw that slider, that knuckleball, that curveball, whatever you want to throw, and it actually mimics a real pitch. If you go on their website, backyardbaseballbros.com, the original Borgoball set, you get a set of 4 for $20, and they're also dropping a limited edition Ocean Storm baseball coming soon, and it's their first ever limited edition. That'll be coming out soon, and hopefully we'll get our hands on some. We'll see if Blake and his brothers can send a pack our way to advertise, but they are awesome. You can give it to your 4-year-old daughter, and she can throw the baseball, and she won't break anything.
Okay, why would you not buy that? You get 4 of them for $20?
Yeah, $5 a pop.
You wouldn't. You're not going to believe me because I know you guys look at me as this ancient dinosaur around here. My attached to my shoulder here is what used to be a cannon of a right arm, and I'll probably have to have some icy hot or whatever now on standby, but I'd like to get one of those Borgoballs, maybe get in the garage a little bit, warm this thing back up.
I think you need to. I mean, honest to God, Tripp, I did not realize.
Why would you let $20 stand between you and having a good time? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. So I'm in. I'm with you. Count me for one. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Well, get yours, backyardbaseballbros.com today. They just redid their whole website. It is beautiful. Well done to the Bergonio brothers. Backyard Baseball Bros. Get your Borgoballs now before they sell out of stock. They sold out of their first order, Tripp, within like a month. It was crazy.
I don't doubt it. They've got a clean site too. It's a very clean site. Lots of they've got some reels up here you can watch. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, let's get into some other good stuff. Let's get into Golden Spikes prediction time. All right. So the Golden Spikes Award, it's the premier award in college baseball. You're basically the National Player of the Year in college baseball. Last year, you talk about your Georgia Bulldogs, who you used to run baseball for. Charlie Condon was the 2024 Golden Spikes Award winner from Georgia after setting the BB Core era home run record, 36 home runs, and he was the SEC Player of the Year for the Georgia Bulldogs as he won the Golden Spikes Award last year. So in the preseason, Schass went with Drew Burress of Georgia Tech, who's had a really solid year. I went with Jace Lavalette of Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. Jace Lavalette has had a tougher start, but as A&M has rebounded, so has Lavalette. His stock is rising right now in terms of Golden Spikes predictions. He is on the midseason watch list, as is Drew Burress, but I know you found some other names out there that you wanted to touch on.
Yeah. Is there, let me get the list here. What about my FSU pitcher? It's
Jamie Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on the list. The cut? I believe Jamie Arnold did make the midseason watch list. Let me confirm, but I looked it up a little bit ago. I didn't actually look up Jamie Arnold, but I would be stunned if he's not on there.
Cannarella's got to be on there, I would imagine.
Yeah, Jamie Arnold is on there. Cam Cannarella is on there. Absolutely. Liam Doyle is on there, as you mentioned. Jace Lavalette is on there. Drew Burress is also on there. So, Schass and I are still in the running for that one. Anybody else that
first baseman LSU, did he make it? Jones?
Jared Jones did make it. Yes, he's on there.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's a kid from Miami too, but we won't, Knowles fan. I'm not going to bring his name into the mix.
There is no one from
Just
Miami on the watch list. Yeah, there's nobody from Miami on the midseason watch list.
Good. What is it? Cuvée or something?
I got you. Yeah, nobody from there on the midseason watch list. Here's a couple others that Yeah, it's a great list. I couldn't find any odds on the Golden Spikes. There's a couple websites that said they had some preseason odds, like Bet Rivers Online Casino. Caesar Sportsbook had a preseason list, but they didn't have anything updated. I have 3 other names I just want to throw out there for folks to watch, because normally speaking, for the Golden Spikes Award winner, it's normally a Power 5, now Power 4 conference team. Usually that team is in the postseason as well. So you have to look at it from that perspective. So these are why I'm watching these. We already talked about the 2 pitchers I'm watching, Liam Doyle and Jamie Arnold. Here's the 3 hitters that I'm watching right now. You got Jackson Hauge from Kansas hitting .335, 17 homers, which is 3rd most in the country, 60 runs batted in for the Jayhawks, a team that could end up being at the top of the Big 12 standings come the end of the regular season and get into the postseason for the first time since 2014. It would be in large part due to Mr. Hauge, Jackson Hauge. Watch him. Also, Indiana, who is playing Iowa this weekend. Huge series in the Big Ten that we'll preview coming up after we take a break. Corbin Dickerson hitting .363, also 17 dongs, 65 runs batted in, 1st in the nation. All right? 65 and 17 homers. All right? So, Indiana, not always, Big Ten's kind of lopped off a little bit in terms of college baseball prowess, but if Indiana can find their way in and they make some noise, maybe Corbin Dickerson can pull it out. And a guy who was a preseason favorite, Justin LeBron from Alabama, .324, 15 homers and 60 RBIs. Those are 3 guys I'm watching right now as Golden Spikes potentials on the offensive side.
Okay. That's a solid list.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk a little NFL draft. We will get into the weekend slate, and the doc will give you some Weekend 11 locks, some series he likes on Weekend 11 coming up after we take a timeout here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
College softball season is in full swing, and we're just the ones to talk about it. Join me, former Florida Gators All-American Amanda Lorenz, and my co-host, Jenna Becerra, every week as we deliver the latest in college softball on the D1 Softball Podcast. We've got all the latest, whether it is in the circle or in the batter's box. We have interviews with coaches, players, and more. We'll go through the week's top 25 poll and give our insights, as well as our plays, wins, and whiffs of the week. Let us get you in the know on all things college softball. Listen on d1softball.com and the Varsity Network app.
All right, back here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. David Kahn, Tripp Hurd in for Kyle Schassburger. The lock doctor is here. We're going to get to his NFL lock mock as the NFL draft begins tonight. Again, the Patriots, my New England Patriots, the 4th overall pick. Looking at Will Campbell right now, the offensive tackle from LSU. Tripp's Bears at number 10. Who the hell knows who they're going to pick? We'll find out what Tripp thinks in just a moment. But Tripp, before that, I know we just talked about the Borgoballs and backyardbaseballbros.com. Have you heard of baseball barbecue?
I have, yeah. You guys have been hooked up with those guys for a while now, right?
We have our 2nd year working with those guys at Baseball Barbecue, and if you need, you're a man who likes to grill some meats. I know that. That's correct, right? Yeah. So if you don't already, you need to go to baseballbarbecue.com. You need to find your college grilling tools, cutting boards of your choice. They make patented baseball bat handle barbecue tools licensed for the best teams in college baseball. They're fun and functional. They're perfect for casual fans or serious grillers. You're both of those, Tripp. Visit baseballbarbecue.com. Find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fans in your life or the grilling fan in your life. And you can get 20% off your purchase by using the code 3D- whatever you want to call it, 3D-20. So use that code, 20% off for you, Tripp, to get you some new fancy grilling tools for when you want to chop it up on the grill. How's that sound?
That sounds nice.
Yeah. All right. So I think you should do that, and I think you listeners out there should go do that as well. 3D-20. That's baseballbarbecue.com. All right. It is the NFL draft tonight. We will get into the weekend slate coming up in college baseball, but the NFL draft begins tonight. It's in Green Bay, which, I mean, does it ever get above 15 degrees in Green Bay? I really have no idea.
I don't know. Why are we having it in Green Bay? I don't get why we have to rotate everything around. Like some things are fine to just stay in New York every year. That's totally fine with me. I don't care where the NFL draft is happening. As long as it happens, let's just have it in the same place. It's like the in the ACC tournament, the basketball tournament.
Yep.
Greensboro, North Carolina. That's your home. Don't ever need to move it. When it works, don't mess with it.
Agree completely. In fact, the ACC women's tournament next year is moving to Atlanta.
Why? What are we doing?
I'm just putting it out there. It's information that is public. Next year, ACC women's basketball tournament will be in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Peach State. All right.
Jim Boeheim started this crap. You need to tag him in the tweet when you release this.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So NFL draft is tonight. It starts at 8:00 Eastern. The Tennessee Titans, we believe, are going to take Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. That seems like a virtual lock. After that, Travis Hunter appears to be number 2. Abdul Carter, number 3. Will Campbell, number 4 is what I'm seeing. But you have drafted a lock mock. You didn't do just the first round. You did all 7 rounds.
No, I didn't do it. Right? I can't do 7 rounds.
Okay,
no.
how many did you do? Tell us about the lock mock.
The original one, I did 3. I've cut it down to 2, and I'm kind of working on my final one for this afternoon. But it's pretty chalky. Ward at 1, Hunter. I think there's a lot of teams that would have been willing to trade up with Cleveland at number 2 to get Travis Hunter, because I do think he's a really special player. But I think the Browns need a special player outside of Myles Garrett. And I mean, who better for Travis Hunter, who their secondary's not in as bad a shape as their wide receiver unit, right? But he can help on both. And I think if you're asking me, I'd roll the dice with Travis Hunter over Jerry Jeudy. So you pair those 2 guys together and Cedric Tillman, I think that would be a nice little receiver unit, and maybe you can get them on the other side of the ball too. And then 3, I think, Abdul Carter's probably just the best player there. And in a draft where most guys, I think it's Hunter, Carter, and Genty as the 3 special players, even though, you got to remember, like, the Giants went and made that move for Brian Burns last year. So I've kind of wanted them to trade out of this the whole time, but to get a top-end pass rusher on a rookie contract like Abdul Carter, I mean, it's kind of the safe thing to do, I guess, and maybe just try to trade up later or wait to the second round for a quarterback if there's one you like. But I've also got you guys taking Will Campbell at 4. And I think that's a good pick. I mean, Will Campbell's been on everybody's radar forever. I know a lot of people are down on the offensive linemen this year, but the Patriots are desperate. They've got to get a tackle. And I mean, I think Genty's probably a better prospect, right? And, I think he's probably an upgrade from Stevenson for you guys. But I think it's just a big need at tackle for the Patriots. So I think they would probably go with Will Campbell over Genty. What's your feelings there? What would you like to see happen at 4?
No, I want us to take an offensive tackle. I am for the Patriots doing that. I have seen a lot of Patriots fan boards irate at the Will Campbell selection, and I think they're reading too much into the one knock that I've read on Campbell, which is he has short arms. He's dominated.
So do Tyrannosaurus Rexes,
right? But he's dominated at LSU, so I'm here for it. I trust in the head coach Mike Vrabel, who was over the moon about Will Campbell after his pro day, his workout with the Patriots. So if Mike Vrabel says Will Campbell's the guy, in Vrabel we trust. All right, we went out, we got the coach that we should have gotten. Gerard Mayo, good luck to you. But Mike Vrabel is now the Patriots head coach. I'm here for it. Give me Will Campbell. Drake May needs protection. He had no time to do anything last year. And in the spurts when he did, you saw how good he could be.
And I think you can't ignore one side of the ball. Like, they spent a lot of money on defense in the offseason. And I think a lot of times when a coach like Vrabel, who's a defensive guy, when he gets there, he wants to grab one of those guys who can make his defense a special unit, because that's the side of the ball he knows. That's the side he is got to get right. He's got to have the defense right. So I'm not shocked if they just throw a curveball and maybe take like Walter Nolan, Mason Graham, one of those guys, and add it to the defensive line. But everything, that you're hearing from ESPN and all the different outlets, it seems like it's Will Campbell right now. And that's fine with me. I think Will Campbell's a really good player, and I think that'll help Drake May out. I'm
with you. All right, run me through the rest of the top 10. Let's go. Get to your Bears pick.
Okay, Jaguars. I think this is another thing. New head coach Liam Cohen.
Yep.
Probably a lot of people for a lot of months had Mason Graham pegged in at number 5. I think maybe they go offense here and maybe take Ginty. I think Ginty's the best prospect right there on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of people are talking about the Arizona wide receiver, T-Mac. The last time that, and I'm not trying to like rip off one of the guys I've been watching, Todd McShay. I'm not trying to rip him, but he's mentioned this a lot. Last time the quarterback Trevor Lawrence had a really, when he was really good at Clemson, he was throwing to big wide receivers, and that's what T-Mac is. So maybe you could throw T-Mac there. I just don't think he's, when I watched him play, and I've seen plenty of him, he played with a good quarterback, Fafita, there in Arizona. I would prefer one of the tight ends like Warren or Colston Loveland, but for immediate impact, and I mean, this regime, they didn't draft the current running backs they had there right now with Etienne, I think Tank Bigsby. You could throw, I mean, Ginty's the best prospect, so I would throw Ginty into the mix there at 5. I think that would be a really good pick for them. Now, Ginty is on a lot of mock drafts, you'll see him going to the Raiders at number 6, but if he's not there anymore, I think Jalen Walker's got to be staring those guys in the face. Jalen Walker's blown everybody away. Everybody that meets him falls in love with him. I've heard the Panthers really love him, but I think he would go really nice in Oakland, kind of going across opposite from Max Crosby. And Oakland's another team. They're desperate for offensive help. They need some playmakers at wide receiver and running back, but if Ginty's not there, I don't think any of the wide receiver prospects would be good enough to jump either one of those tight ends. And especially, I think it's just Jalen Walker. Some of these defensive guys are just regarded as better prospects than the offensive guys in this draft. So I would take Walker. Walker might be the safest pick in the draft as far as, the guy's going to show up. He's going to be a good teammate. The measurables aren't great with him, but he's been super productive for Georgia, toughest league in college football, right behind the ACC in the SEC. I'm just joking, but yeah, I like Jalen Walker there at 7. I think the Jets, another team desperate for offensive line help. They could use another receiver. They could use a tight end. All that stuff is in play there. But this is where I get a little off the rails here. I think this could be Walter Nolan right here. You put Walter Nolan beside Quentin Richardson.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous. Walter Nolan was the best player in his whole class coming out of high school. This dude, and I know there's lots of stuff that he's not a great practice player or whatever, but this guy has all the traits you could possibly want. I think better than Mason Graham, and that's why I think he'll end up going ahead of Mason Graham in this draft, which is a little bit different from what you'll see from a lot of the mock drafts out there. But I just think Walter Nolan is he's good against the run, and he can rush the passer from that inside spot. I think he's a monster. And I think you put him next to Richardson. That could be another new head coach, Aaron Glenn. He's a defensive coach. Like, I got to get that side of the ball right off the bat. So I like Walter Nolan at 7. And then you get to the Panthers. A lot of people are saying the Panthers might want to trade out. But if Mason Graham is there, Mason Graham, another guy, just like Will Campbell. I mean, these guys, I would be very surprised if Mason Graham or Will Campbell are not longtime starters, multiple Pro Bowl guys. but short arms. So people are worried about him. I mean, let's not worry so much about the short arm stuff. I know Braden Fisk was great for the Rams last year, an FSU boy. Another guy was with short arms. They got him in the second round. So I understand your worry, but that dude has all the traits, super disruptive guy. And I think he would fit great for Carolina. Carolina actually signed a couple of defensive tackles in free agency, but you'll see teams do that a lot. You know, they'll sign a couple guys to kind of try to fill the need. But if that right prospect's there, they throw him into the mix. He's got guys he can play behind. And if he's better, Mason Graham would be an absolute star in Charlotte for the Carolina Panthers. So I think he would be a great pick. And then number 9, let's see who we've got next. The Saints. I don't think they're going quarterback here. I honestly think, even though this is another team, they could use a wide receiver, they could use a tight end. They've spent some really high picks on their offensive line here. I think one of the things that's got to be on the mind of the Saints would be, what are we going to do when Cam Jordan retires? Because he is on the back end here. And there's a couple of guys who stick out for me who I think could be a good replacement for Cam Jordan. One's Michael Williams from Georgia, a guy who people are down on a little bit right now because he played really banged up last year. He didn't have the production of Jalen Walker, but as far as the measurable stuff you want, he's got everything. He's a freak. So I think Michael Williams would be a great pick there. As a lot of teams with their eyes on Shamar Stewart too. I know that's another guy who people aren't getting along with his agent right now, but Shamar Stewart has that same kind of body type that he could be a great 4-3 defensive end for the Saints. So I would expect one of those two guys to go at number 9. And then you get to number 10 with the Bears. And I think Shamar Stewart's definitely in play there with Genty already off the board. I think that's probably, I've heard some rumors about the Bears and the Patriots maybe trying to work a deal out because the Bears like Genty so much. But if that doesn't work out, I think an offensive tackle like Kelvin Banks from Texas would be in play here. Maybe Mimbo. I think they would probably go Banks over Mimbo, but I also think the defensive end would be a really good spot. And apparently Shamar Stewart has had multiple visits with the Bears. So a guy who's been kind of hard to get to for interviews for a lot of NFL teams. If Chicago's gotten to him multiple times, I think they like him. So I think Shamar Stewart could be that number 10 guy right there for Chicago.
All right, we will see how it all plays out tonight. The NFL draft beginning at 8 o'clock. First round is tonight. Second through seventh rounds to follow the next couple days. Tripp, one other thing I want to ask you about, Shedeur Sanders. His draft stock has been plummeting over the last couple days. I believe the over-under for ESPN Bet, he was at like 8.5 at noon yesterday, and then by 6 p.m. it was like 21.5. I mean, he has been just way down the draft boards. Where do you have him going, into who and why?
Well, Shedeur's kind of a funny story here. You've heard people say that he's the worst interview they've ever seen.
Yes.
As far as NFL prospects go. So that's not good. But watching Shedeur play, and I watched a decent chunk of Colorado last year, I do think he can be a starting quarterback in the league.
Okay.
A team, I think there are a couple of teams that are in play to take Shedeur Sanders. I don't know. I think Shedeur could be one of those guys who, if he drops past 20 or so, then you maybe see the Giants trade back in, or maybe you see the Saints trade back in. Because, look, I would rather have Shedeur Sanders as the future in New Orleans over Derek Carr, and I'd rather have him over Spencer Rattler. So I think the Saints are a team to watch to maybe like try to trade back into the back end of that first round and maybe snag Shedeur. because I mean, Derek Carr apparently can't get out of New Orleans quick enough.
No.
I mean, you just talk about a career that took a nosedive as soon as he signed there. And I've never been a huge Spencer Rattler guy. So I think the Saints are a team to watch with something like that. I mean, the Giants obviously want a quarterback, but from what I've heard with New York, Jackson Dart might be a better fit for those guys. A guy is built a little more like, he's not Josh Allen, but built a little bit more in that style, a guy who can run around, take a couple of hits and keep going. But I think the Saints and Giants obviously are teams to watch, maybe to trade back into the background of the first round, or who knows, maybe Cleveland can snag him with the 33rd pick if he falls that far. It's not out of the question. And I think Dart's fine. I would wait to the second round for Jackson Dart.
All right. Well, listen, we'll see how it all plays out. But I was just curious your thoughts on Shedeur, the now retired number Shedeur Sanders, along with Travis Hunter at Colorado. That is
no respect for
crazy.
Cordell.
All right, we're going to take one final break. When we come back, we will take a look at the Weekend 11 slate in college baseball, and Doc will give you his Weekend 11 locks in college baseball before we get on out of here and let you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. By the way, on the way out the door, MLB Draft 2025, July 13th to 15 in Atlanta. That's coming up, and we'll get to the Weekend 11 look around when we come back here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
All right, wrapping things up here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. David Kahn, Tripp Hurd at SportsCon4 on Twitter, on X. For Tripp Hurd, it's at Locks of the Doc, and he's going to give you some locks here in just a moment as we preview the Weekend 11 slate in college baseball. Kyle Schassburger and myself have picked out some games that we really love across the Power 4 conferences and non-Power 4. So I'm going to rip through those, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Tripp. He's going to tell me the series he likes the most this weekend and some locks for you to ride. Tripp, I don't know if you know this, but Kyle Schassburger has been putting out some surefire locks. We call it Schass's surefire locks. He doesn't put one out every week, but so far he's got an above 500 record. He's 4-3 on the season with his surefire locks.
The guy, I'll tell you what, on the Phil Steele show, he will find the most random college football games. And I have no idea what his total record is right now, but it's got to be pretty good. He just, I don't know, man. And Duke football has been so good to him. He just gets really off the board, off the beaten path with some of these picks, but he's done pretty well on there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. Listen, that is one of the many mantras that Kyle Schassburger lives by, being the contrarian, living his life like it's a piñata, just close your eyes and swing, gains. I mean, we know all these things describe our man Kyle Schassburger very well. Let's get into the Weekend 11 slate. Schass's surefire lock for the weekend, by the way, is Texas over Texas A&M this weekend in Austin. That's his surefire lock. So he's taken the marquee series. He's not going off the board. He's taking the top series in all the land and making a pick there. So that's his highlighted SEC game of the week, along with Arkansas at Florida and number 6 Tennessee in Baton Rouge against 7th-rated LSU. I also want to toss in number 10 Georgia and 14th-rated Oklahoma. That's a Thursday through Saturday series, along with number 9 Vandy at 23rd-rated Ole Miss. From the ACC, 3 series to dial in on: Tripp's FSU, Knowles at number 19 Louisville, number 2 Clemson at number 25 NC State Thursday through Saturday, and then Virginia at number 24 Georgia Tech. Virginia had the weekend off after not playing last weekend in Tallahassee. Georgia Tech trying to get right after getting swept against Miami. Anything in the SEC and ACC that stand out to you for some locks of the weekend for you, Doctor?
Well, look, I was staring pretty hard at A&M just with the revenge kind of thing with the coach, but it's in Austin, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's in Austin.
I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm actually gonna go to the Civil War, Oregon.
Oh,
I'll
Oregon,
take
Oregon
Beavers.
State for 4.
I'll take the Beavers.
Okay,
I'm a believer in the Beavers.
Okay, that's for 4 games, by the way. That's a 4-game series.
Yeah, so that's a possibility of a split there, but I think I like 3-1 Beavers there.
Okay.
I think they'll take the series. Let me see. I've got a couple other ones I was looking at here. I think the Noles probably cruise, but
on the road against Louisville. All right. Okay.
Hey, what? I don't want to upset you here. What do you think about? Doesn't Tulane have some action this week?
Tulane does have some big action this week. They are on the road at East Carolina. In Greenville, North Carolina. 1 game separating those two in the American Athletic Conference. That's a big series.
Man, I might have to roll Pirates there. You're probably not going to invite me back on now, but
nope, that's it. I mean, listen, dude, Tulane is the back-to-back American Athletic Conference tournament champions. All right.
No respect.
No respect for the Wave. Man. All right. So that was one of my non-Power 4 series to highlight. We already talked about Schass's. It's UC Irvine at Cal Poly. Also want to throw out a Sun Belt series trip. Number 22 Southern Miss at App State. 1 game separating the two of them in the Sun Belt. You want to dabble in the Fun Belt this weekend?
Maybe. I mean, you'd have to lean Southern Miss, right? They're pretty good. They're kind of on the edge of the top 25, aren't they?
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Okay. You dabble with the Southern Miss. I like it. Let me see. Southern Miss is in the top 25. They're number 22.
Are they?
Yeah, they're in.
Okay.
They're in the top 25. I was gonna say I think they're in the rankings. They are. They're number 22 right now.
Okay.
So okay. You lean with Southern Miss. That's fair. Also in the Big Ten leader Iowa hosting Indiana, and then you got number 15 UCLA taking on Penn State, who just ended West Virginia's 14-game winning streak on Tuesday. Penn State Trip has been doing it right with midweeks. Free tickets, free admission, and then dollar dogs for Penn State.
Dollar dogs?
Dollar dogs. They did $6 dog nights throughout the season, and I think they had something like 37,000 dogs eaten across the 6 nights.
That's amazing. I mean, that's great. That's how you get guys behind you, you know?
Yeah. And they had attendance records like crazy because tickets were free. You could just walk in.
Man, I gotta wonder what's in those hot dogs, though. It can't be. That's not all beef for sure.
Are they kosher? Do they do kosher hot dogs?
You're not getting a potato bread bun with those hot dogs.
No, but
how do you take a hot dog? What's your hot dog order? What do you put on a hot dog?
Oh, I'm a plain Jane, man. Ketchup and cheese. That's all I need.
Really? See, I'm not a ketchup guy. I'll go just mustard. Like if I'm trying to knock one down on the golf course, I'll just take put a little mustard on the dog and that's it. But I love them all the way too.
Okay, yeah. So I did have a Chicago dog when I went to Wrigley Field with that special seasoning on there.
Yeah.
Oh, holy smokes.
See,
my life was changed.
I'd love to try a real Chicago dog. Like you can't get a good Chicago dog in North Carolina because I've tried a couple that just they didn't really hit the spot. So
no, that seasoning, whatever it is, I think it's celery salt, I think is what it is. Oh my God, it's life changing. But yeah, if I'm just putting getting a glizzy on the golf course, just ketchup. We don't need any cheese on there. But if I'm getting fancy, I'll sprinkle some cheddar on there. Let it melt. It's pretty damn good. But yeah, I'm pretty plain when it comes to hot dogs. All right, let's see. Who else did we miss? Oh, Big 12. Got 2 series as well. Number 17, West Virginia at UCF. Can the Mountaineers keep their winning streak alive in the Big 12 series? And then Houston at Kansas State, who's fallen off. Kansas State's lost 9 of their last 12 games. Either of those Big 12 series tickle your fancy?
No, not really.
Okay. I agree with you. Big 12, kind of a lighter weekend in terms of intriguing Big 12 matchups. But so you're riding Oregon State in the Civil War. You're going to go ECU hosting the Wave. You got Southern Miss over App State, and that's it. That's your 3, right?
Yeah.
You go
anything
FSU
with
too?
Clemson and NC State?
Yeah, Clemson, NC State.
You got any kind of feeling about that?
NC State just climbed back into the rankings at number 25. Yeah. I don't think it'll be a sweep. I'll put it that way. I'll say Clemson 2 out of 3.
Okay. All right.
I'd ride that. Yeah. I don't think it'll be a sweep though. I think NC State's has turned it around at the right time. But I'll go 2 of 3 for Eric Bakich and the Tigers. I'm always going to stand Eric Bakich. All right. That guy has treated me with the utmost respect. Back to my minor league days, Eric Bakich was gracious to give me a 30-minute interview on one of his former players that was on the minor league team I was broadcasting for, that I was writing a feature story for on. And then we had him on the podcast 2 years ago, and he remembered me. So I can't love Eric Bakich more. All right. I will Eric Bakich stand till the day I die.
There you go. That's how it works.
All right. Well, Doc, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for pinch hitting for Kyle Schassburger while he's been on Disney. Folks, if you wanted your locks of the season, the week, whatever, the NFL style, you got a little NFL flair in this one. You had him. You just heard what's going to happen. All right. The lock doctor has already stared into his crystal ball, his magic 8 ball, and told you what's going down. So there you go. It is out there, and you can do with it what you will.
Hey, before we check out here, just because you mentioned it, the NFL again, Steve Mongo McMichael passed away yesterday from ALS. What a terrible disease that is. 67 years old. That guy was a part of the greatest team, the greatest defense to ever grace a football field. Yeah. And I think Schass would be upset if I didn't say R.I.P. to Mongo.
Yep. No better way to close
Chicago
it out than
Bear.
That. Yeah, certainly thoughts and prayers with him and the entire Chicago Bears organization. His family is they mourn his loss as he passed away yesterday, as you said, from ALS. All right, for Tripp Hurd, the Lock Doctor, I'm David Kahn. Kyle Schassburger will be back with us on Tuesday after he finishes gallivanting around the most magical place on earth, which for me is on this podcast, but for Schass this week, it's Disney World. So long, everybody. Enjoy weekend 11 of college baseball. This has been Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.